ABC Sports presents the Professional Bowlers Tour. This week, the first jewel in bowling's Triple Crown, the $200,000 PBA National Championship. The great Earl Anthony won this event the past 3 years, but Earl's retired, and now there are 5 bowlers who will compete for the 1984 title and the top prize of $38,000. In 5th place, looking for his first PBA title from Pontiac, Michigan, Bob Chamberlain. In 4th place, making his 3rd championship round appearance this year, Gil Slanker. The winner of that match will meet our 3rd place qualifier, the veteran Jim Stefanich. In 2nd place, the man who won 3 weeks ago in St. Louis, PBA Hall of Famer, Nelson Burton Jr. And finally, our tournament leader from Tonawanda, New York, looking for his first PBA title, Dan Eberle. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're inside the Imperial Lanes here in Toledo, Ohio, on the banks of the Maumee River. That's right, the finals of the PBA National Championship Live. One of our 5 bowlers today will win that coveted title and $38,000. Good afternoon. I'm Chris Schenkel, delighted to be back in this city of hardworking and prosperous people. It's always a delight to come to Toledo. And for Nelson Burton Jr. 3 weeks ago, it was a delight to be in his hometown at Dick Weber Lanes when he averaged .262 in 4 games to win the Angle Open title with this typical Burton smoothness. Put it right in the 1-3 pocket. Well, Nelson is in the finals today, so consequently he won't be behind the mic, but we bring back Dick Weber. Dick, great to see you.
Thank you very much, Chris. It's always a pleasure to be back in Toledo, Ohio, Imperial Lanes in this beautiful crowd.
Dick, you possess 4 major titles. What does it mean?
Well, Chris, this is the granddaddy of all tournaments. You're bowling against 360 members. You're bowling for $38,000 first prize. You're bowling 56 games of tough competition. And like you say, you're bowling for a major career title. So it means everything.
The leader, Dan Eberle, is a left-hander.
Yes, and by the way, he learned from Earl Anthony last year because he bowled on the same pairs as Earl did in the qualifying. He said he learned a lot from Earl, and you've got to watch out for this young man, Dan Eberle.
Would he have an advantage?
Yes, I think so, because Earl Anthony won it 3 times in a row here, so I think he's got the advantage.
Okay, Dick, we look forward to your commentary. Dick Weber. So, here at Imperial Lanes in Toledo, we'll be back for the first match, Bob Chamberlain and Gil Slanker. So stay with us, a big one coming up.
The Professional Bowlers Tour, this ABC Sports exclusive, is brought to you by Miller High Life, the best beer for the best time of day. Welcome to Miller Time. By Quaker State, made from Pennsylvania-grade crude oil, new and old cars, small and big cars, staying on the road with Quaker State. And by Honda motorcycles and ATC 3-wheelers. Honda, follow the leader.
Okay. And here we are, Bob Chamberlain, 35-year-old from Pontiac, Michigan, not too far from here, and Gil Slanker from Washington, New Jersey. So this is Slanker, who finished 4th in this field of 360 bowlers. First shot on the left lane. And, well,
Good rolling ball, Chris. Good rolling ball because he kicked out the 4-9. And doing that in this particular situation is great.
Bob's first appearance in a championship round, but what a veteran of team play. So this is his big opportunity in front of a national television audience. Well, a little of everything in our first 2 shots.
Well, both of these fellas said they need the break, so both of them started off with a break. As we watch Bob Chamberlain with his 5-step delivery and shoulder level, backswing, good timing. Just pulled the ball a little bit, turned it a little bit soon in backswing. Got by with a Brooklyn shot.
Bob is now on the tour full-time. And if he keeps bowling like that, he's liable to win a national championship right here this afternoon. But Gil Slanker, as you remember, in the first frame for Gil, he opened with a strike. So now to stay even, he has to make one right here.
And this is the lane he chose to finish on, too, Chris. So this is an important shot for Gil Slanker.
break, leaving the 10 pin.
Leaving the half 10 as we watch Gil Sliker with his 5-step delivery. Very nice, smooth, short steps. And then coming into the last step, he takes a long slide. Good follow through. Good everything.
Way to the left of center now. Cross lane. And Dick, the 10 pin is gone. So we continue to mark here in our first match, and if you just joined us, we might point out that the winner will meet the man with the classic style, Jim Stefanich, who 13 titles to his credit. Then the winner of that match, Bo Burton, 17 titles, and then Dan Eberle, a non-winner. So this is going to be an exciting afternoon. Sliker now in the third frame, first match. Again, a 10 pin.
And you notice, Chris, now he was practicing pretty much inside on the left lane. But right at the last moment, Gil decided to move not extreme outside, but between the first and second arrow, because he thought he had better chance to throw the ball hard and reach the pocket this way.
Gil is one of those very consistent bowlers. This is his third appearance on our telecast this year. Earlier in the Winter Tour, he had 2 consecutive television appearances at the AC Delco Classic, where he finished 4th, and then in the Showboat Invitational. Now, Bob Chamberlain, 2 strikes, now shooting in the third frame.
Oh, my. Ooh.
That was a Dick Weber shot. I was just going to point out, Dick, that Bob is a 6-footer, 155 pounds, seemingly almost an ideal physique for this game.
Well, yes, I used to be that slim, and I used to have that type of swing and that kind of a ball back in the late 60s and early 70s, but something's faded.
27 titles, the man that just spoke here in Toledo, Ohio. Now, 4th frame, 3 in a row.
Oh. Solid 9, Chris, really costly. That would have given him a pretty sizable lead for the first 4 frames. And watch the ball there. The ball deflects right to the left and misses the 9 pin. Because a perfect strike, a ball hit the 1, 3, 5, and 9.
And so the fellow that was voted the king of bowlers in the Detroit, Michigan area last year, Bob Chamberlain, is out to a 20-pin lead in our first match against veteran Gil Sliker. We'll be back.
Today you need an oil this good. You need Quaker State.
I want all the performance this engine can deliver. I need an oil this good.
Today's 4-cylinder engines work so hard, they demand an oil this good.
These motor oils are refined exclusively from Pennsylvania grade crude. Quaker State is so good, it's America's best-selling motor oil.
That engine's my bread and butter. I need an oil this good.
Old cars, new cars. Big cars, small cars. Today you need Quaker State. You need an oil this good.
Want to clear out a room full of guys in a hurry? Try this. The Shadow from Honda. People want to listen to it. People want to look at it. And everybody wants to ride it. The Shadow from Honda. Now you know who's in charge.
When it comes time to tuck this rig in for the night, we know just where to park it.
Welcome right down to Miller Town. It's all yours and it's all mine. Bring your thirsty self right here. The rich, smooth taste of Miller beer is what you have in mind. Welcome to Miller Town.
Welcome to the rich, smooth taste of Miller High Life.
We're at the PBA National Championship first match. While we were away, Gil Sliker marked with a strike in the 4th, left the 3-6, covered them for a spare in the 5th. Now Bob Chamberlain with a spare up shooting in the 5th frame. First match. Chamberlain leading.
Oh, gorgeous extension there, Chris. He's really coming through the ball. Nice.
You can tell he's a veteran of team and individual competition.
Packing the ball into the 1-3 pocket and carrying all 10 pins into the pit. You just can't ask for any better strike.
And a competitor can only sit there and hope. Now here's a man that opened with a triple. Three-bagger. Marked with a spare and has now doubled. And his presence is felt here by the capacity crowd and also by 33-year-old Gil Sliker, 14 years a PBA member with one PBA title. And that's more of the Sliker that we know. And I said he has one title, and he did it in the doubles classic, and he did it with our statistician today, Mike Durbin, president of the PBA.
Look at the ball roll into the pocket, Chris. Very nice rolling ball, and the 6-pin kicks out to 10. Let's see if Gil Sliker makes his little bit adjustment here with a little more speed. He was a little bit high the last time.
Can cut it by 10 pins with a strike here. And he was high again, leaving the 6-10 on the left lane.
A minute before, he was confused about the lane. He didn't know whether to go deep inside or outside. And here's the ball is running to the nose and leaving the 6-10.
Almost tentative at the line, too, Dick. He just didn't have that confidence. Oh, just marked with a spare. We're in our first match at the PBA National Championship, where the winner today will receive $38,000. Sliker is trailing Bob Chamberlain by 30 pins. We'll be back.
Firestone announces a different kind of car care. Master Care. One big difference is our computerized diagnostic center, the mastermind of Firestone. It analyzes 200 engine functions, tells us what to fix, tells you what was fixed, virtually eliminating guesswork and unnecessary repairs. The mastermind of Firestone. It's better engine care than humanly possible. Only from Firestone.
Nissan explodes interest rates on trucks. Now get low 8.8 annual percentage rate on any new Nissan truck. 8.8%. You can save up to $600 on Nissan's lowest sticker price truck, up to $1,200 depending on the model and options. 8.8% is the lowest factory-sponsored truck financing around, but it won't be around long. 8.8%. Major savings on major motion. From Nissan, only at your Datsun dealer.
Derby favorite Devil's Bag and the Flamingo Stakes live, plus rocketing Cresta Daredevils and surfing's hottest on ABC's Wide World of Sports. Next.
That's right. Next on Wide World, Thoroughbred Racing returns the Flamingo Stakes. And speaking of a thoroughbred, you're looking at one, Jim Stefanich, former Firestone champion, who hasn't been on the scene for about 7 years. He will meet the winner of this first game. And here is a man that has never been on our national telecast, Bob Chamberlain. He has a 30-pin lead on Gil Sliker with a double up, shooting in the 7th frame. Bob Chamberlain of Pontiac, Michigan. Well, this was a pair that the 5 bowlers had a variety of opinions as to its quality, but not Bob Chamberlain.
Right, as the ball goes into the 1-3 pocket, solid again, Chris. Everything's in the pit, and you just couldn't ask for a better exhibition of bowling strikes, just like Bo Burton did 3 weeks ago. And when you're wired in, you're wired in.
And he loves bowling on lacquer.
He loves it.
8th frame. There's another one. 4 in a row now for Bob Chamberlain of Pontiac, Michigan. And Gil Sliker is probably wondering, when am I going to win that individual title? He is a doubles champion with Mike Durbin and a great bowler. Spare up, 8th frame.
Well, Gil Sliker's really hit the lane he wanted to finish on, the right lane, but he's having trouble with that left lane, and I'm sure now that he will have to take a gamble and move deeper inside, as we see Gil just getting his perfect strike.
Oh. From behind, you see where Dick and I are watching the match with you. that's a break. And there is Crystal Sliker, Gil's charming wife.
Don't forget Bob Chamberlain started off with a Brooklyn strike, which is the break that he needed. And I just wonder if he's thinking about the 9-pin he left in the 4th frame. They had a 300 going if they carried that.
Fearless, faultless. My heavens. Bob Chamberlain, who is Michigan all events, everything. He has had some kind of career. And now he's showing us what he can do here on the Professional Bowlers Tour. And this is a championship for the pros, the Professional Bowlers Association, their big one.
Automatic win with a strike here.
All but 7-pin. Nevertheless, tremendous performance. The victor in this first game, Bob Chamberlain. First time on television, he eliminates Gil Sliker here in the National Championship, which means that Chamberlain now will go against Jim Stefanich.
To the millions who use paint remover on varnished furniture, I have some advice. Stop immediately.
But I've always used it. Use Formby's furniture refinisher. Some paint removers raise the grain and strip the wood's beauty, and it's hard work.
Formby's easily dissolves old varnish, lacquer, and shellac. No sanding, no scraping.
With Formby's furniture refinisher, the wood's beauty actually reappears.
Homer Formby. No one knows wood as good.
March is National Furniture Refinishing Month. Get big savings on my furniture refinisher.
Shocks are shot, treads are thin, mufflers gone. Well, come on in. There's more for your life at Sears. Where else could you change your tires, take your aim, smooth out your ride, and catch the game? There's more for your life, for the times of your life. There's more for your life at Sears.
Tomorrow, Ann Margaret's in a streetcar named Desire.
Now, through March 17th, it's a super success celebration at your AMC Jeep Renault dealer. On Renault Alliance, best-selling American car line launched in 1983, with dealer incentives on Alliance and all-new Encore. Incentives of up to $1,000 on Fuego Turbo. And we're celebrating 4x4 of the year Jeep Cherokee. Save on Renault and Jeep Special Editions, too. See your local AMC Jeep Renault dealer. Hurry! Celebration ends March 17th.
I know Pacific Telephone is now Pacific Bell, but I don't know how the change will affect my business communication system.
Information and communication systems are a big part of our business. So I want to know who to go to for answers.
If you want answers, call Pacific Bell. All you have to do is make one call to get the answers you need. Even about phone products and services, we don't handle.
For all your business needs, call the people you've always called first. Call Pacific Bell.
Newswatch 13. It's a better newscast.
Here in Toledo, Ohio, with 8 strikes, Bob Chamberlain of Pontiac, Michigan, has defeated Gil Sliker 256 to 226. Now Chamberlain is going to be tested by a 2-time major champion winner, Jim Stefanich. 13 titles plus an all-star, and they're all going for that $38,000 first prize. Runner-up 20, finishing third 11, 8, and Sliker with $6,000. Total purse of $200,000. On the left, that's Stefanich. On the right, Bob Chamberlain. And Dick Weber, we're delighted that the PBA National Championship will come back to Toledo next year and years after. And the purse has been raised to $235 grand.
Isn't that something?
Oh, it is. You guys deserve it.
That's more than we had in the first 3 years of the PBA history when we started in 1959.
Right. And the man with 8 strikes in the first game has left the 6-pin here on the left lane.
Chris, I'd like to point out, Bob Chamberlain threw the ball a little bit high, getting a good break of knocking out the 7 and 10. But this young man's only been on the tour for 4 years, or a member for 4 years, but very well seasoned.
So he marks with a spare, the fellow that likes golf and tennis, plumber by trade. And speaking of, we've listed the accolades in bowling. Jim Stefanich, you're looking at one of the better golfers anywhere.
What a game. A perfect stylist of the game.
42 years old. Oh, that'll loosen up the old-timer. Jim Stefanich, who was the last to bowl a perfect 300 game here on the Professional Bowlers Tour.
Holding that ball low with a 5-step delivery, no more than shoulder level high back swing, good knee bend, and really crisp with a follow through at the end. Great game. Wish I had it.
Well, you did. Now he'll try to double, shooting on the left lane. High hit, leaving the 3, 6, 10.
Chris, of all the bowlers there's Olive, Jim's wife, beautiful person, along with his son Chris. But all the bowlers on the telecast were concerned about the left lane. The left lane is the key lane.
Shooting those spares consistently has been a key all week. It always is in bowling. There's Chris with the red shirt and the blue sweater. And Bob Chamberlain is up next. He won the first match. We asked him what made him turn pro at such a late age.
Well, back in Detroit, I was bowling for a beer team, and I had another job, and I stayed with guaranteed income, and I don't have that anymore, so now we're out here to give it our best out here.
So now Bob will learn about shooting spares here on our live telecast from Toledo, Ohio, leaving the 10-pin.
And if he keeps bowling like he is, he'll have a guaranteed income, believe me.
That's right. A lot at stake today. There are only 3 major championships, professional bowling. This, the U.S. Open, and the Firestone.
Deadly mistake. Deadly mistake. You can't do that in a one-game match, and especially against a veteran like Jim Stefanich. As when she just rushed the foul line a little bit and got the ball a little bit wide, and the ball, as you see, fell into the gutter. Even though it came out of the gutter to hit the pin, it doesn't count according to American Bowling Congress rules.
A lot of viewers are probably saying, what a pity. Huh? That's the mark of a professional. When they have an open frame or they blow one, put it bluntly, they come right back with a solid hit and a strike.
A lot of people get upset about that, Chris. When they miss like that, they really get upset, and then it shakes them up a little bit.
All right, third frame for Jim Stefanich, Joliet, Illinois, spare working. Oh, yeah, Stefanich of old.
What a style, Chris. Like our statistician, Mike Durbin, has a good style. Perfect timing, getting the ball well over the foul line, good follow-through. That's what they all strive for.
I'll tell you how great this man has been. In 1 week in 1967, he set or broke 13 world and PBA records. You know, 6-game, 12-game, you name it. Can you imagine? Hoping to double. 7-pin.
Bad break. The 5-pin is slicing right in front of the 7. Watch the replay here. Just the ball nicks the 5-pin just a bit. Lays right in front of the 7-pin. Good rolling ball, but a bad break for Jim.
And Jim Stefanich of Joliet, Illinois, continues to mark. He is leading by 12 pins. This is our second match, going against Bob Chamberlain, who defeated Gil Sliker in the first game. Stay tuned. We'll be back.
All you gotta do is smell the coffee, splash on Old Spice. Now you're moving, isn't it nice? Standing tall, now you're doing it right. Pour out a handful, splash on some spice.
Nobody sends more guys out there than America's favorite, unmistakably masculine Old Spice.
Now you're moving, don't think twice. Splash on the feeling, splash on some spice.
Down the home stretch, you can almost taste victory.
and it's sure gonna taste great.
Welcome to Miller time. It's all yours and it's all mine. Bring your thirsty self right here. The rich, smooth taste of Miller beer is what you have in mind. Welcome to Miller time.
Welcome to the rich, smooth taste of Miller High Life.
Next Saturday, the Professional Bowlers Tour moves to Overland Park, Kansas. The country's top bowlers will compete for the top prize of $20,000 in the $125,000 King Louis Open. Join us next Saturday for the Professional Bowlers Tour on ABC.
And that King Louis Open is always a favorite stops for the pros, to be followed by the United States Open in the Chicago area. Oak Lawn, Illinois. Second jewel in the Triple Crown. Miller High Life Open again in Milwaukee, followed by the Fairlanes Open in the Washington, D.C. area. The next 4 weeks here in the Professional Bowlers Tour telecasts. Bob Chamberlain is up, trailing by 12, but he can cut it to 2. Has the strike working, shooting in the 4th. So, 2 pins now separate a non-winner and a 13-time champion. Second match.
Good concentration, this young man. And he likes lacquer. This is a lacquer surface, and he can keep the ball in play when he throws it in the track.
You like it too, don't you?
Oh, I love it.
And a high hit leaves the 3-6-10. Looking ahead with Nelson Burton coming up when he set the 4-game record at your lanes. Now, those are lacquered lanes as well.
Definitely so. As we see Bob Chamberlain's ball going a little bit high, he pulled that ball when he shot the ball, turned a little bit early in his backswing, making him pull, leaving the 3-6-10. Yes, Bo Burton does like lacquer. He was brought up on lacquer.
Nice job shooting that spare, 3-6-10. Bob Chamberlain keeping this match close. Jim Stefnich making his first appearance on our telecast since 1977. And he's had trouble with torn tendons in his right wrist, so he couldn't bowl for 18 months. He has had his problems, but he's a champion.
Chris, an interesting note about Jim Stefnich. Jim Stefnich has struck on the right lane every shot. Chose to finish on the left lane. And a while ago I mentioned that bowlers were concerned about the left lane. Jimmy decided to move extremely deep inside the third arrow on the left lane. Yet he has not carried a strike yet, but he gets that double, he'll put the pressure and make Chamberlain think a little bit more.
Oh, he did it. Jim Stefnich at 42 years of age and 35-year-old Bob Chamberlain.
And he knows he's up against a big veteran here. So he can't afford any more mistakes like he made in the second frame.
Just like that, he answers Stefanich's. So that was a strike in the 6th frame.
Hit high in the first frame, and then he went high in the 5th frame. Let's see what he does this frame.
Is this a big shot, Dick?
This is a big shot for him. He's been high twice out of 3 times on the left lane.
A little extra touch at the line. Good follow through down on that one knee, hoping that it would get that pocket. And we have a match that is separated by only 5 pins. Stefnich is in the lead.
Noah's gone.
To the prize, top prize.
And another Wally shot. I love it.
Now.
This is a must strike for Bob Chamberlain. Must.
The gold, the national title, and $38,000. Right here, it's a victory in this second match to move in against Bo Burton. With all the confidence that you could possibly muster, Bob Chamberlain looking for his very first win, while this man is looking for the third part of a Triple Crown. Has two of them.
Yeah, and Jim Stefanich took a close look at the rack on the right lane. Decided to take a rack because it's a crucial shot for Jim Stefanich.
And you're allowed 3 in any one game.
Possible 260 for Jim Stefanich, a possible 245 for Bob Chamberlain. Close match.
Oh. That 7-pin had the grace of a ballet dancer the way it went out. Watch it.
Oh, just about stood, but the 2-pin carried it out.
Like a Greg Louganis dive.
With this strike, Chris, he shuts out Bob Chamberlain with a 6-pin count and a spare.
And the shot comes on the left lane.
Oh, toss air.
4, 6, 10.
The best thing for him to do, Chris, is go for the 2 pins. Definitely go for the 2 pins. Keep that count up, because that'll make Chamberlain get the first strike. And Jim's checking the score over closely.
And he didn't lose any of his smoothness. With methodical precision, steps to the line and has that open frame and shoots at 225.
The situation, Chris, is Bob Chamberlain must have the first strike in the 10th frame. 9 pins and a spare and a strike would give him 224, and Stefanich would win by 1 pin. Crucial shot.
Right lane, using all the approach. Look at that tension. Taking a little more time. Is that a gutsy bowler, or is that a gutsy bowler?
Isn't it, though? Look at the solid as can be, and all 10 pins in the pit. What's interesting about this, Chris? 4 years as a member, Bob Chamberlain, against 19-year PBA member veteran Jim Stefanich.
All right, leaving the 6-10.
Chamberlain, the winner.
All right, he's won 2 matches now. Remember, Stefanich shot a 225. Chamberlain will be in the 230s. And now that he's disposed of veteran Jim Stefanich, he faces next hottest bowler of the year on our telecast, Nelson Burton Jr. 232 for Bob Chamberlain, his second win. Jim Stefanich shoots at 225, and this man was totally nervous at the point. His legs were shaking. The ball weighed 100 pounds, but he came through.
Now, well, let's see what the rest does for him. He's got to wait for Bo Burton to shoot his shadow ball. He's got to sit there. He's got to think about the next match. He's got to forget about the past 2 matches. And he's really going to be in stress.
He looks very relaxed. It's the first time in 2 games that he's looked a bit relaxed. That's Bob Chamberlain. We'll be back. What matches they have been. Non-winner Bob Chamberlain of Pontiac, Michigan, came out of the box against veteran Jim Stefanich with 7 strikes, 232 to 225. Came up with that mush strike when he needed it, and now faces Nelson Burton Jr. And what a semifinal match that will be. Dan Eberl will be the tournament leader waiting for the victor of that game. Speaking of Nelson Burton Jr., he's bowling today. Dick Weber's doing the commentary. But earlier in the season, Nelson taped how to shoot the 3rd arrow spares. 360 pros.
And it took an average of 204 to cash and 211 to make the final 24, Chris. Pretty good average. And we see Roy Buckley, our alternate, Steve Licklider, Bob Goyke, Jeff Bellinger coming on strong, Marshall Holman, the fiery guy, Keith Closey. Ted Hanna is one of our past champions, Gary Skidmore, Mike Edwards, and Bobby Jacks from New Orleans. Charlie Tapp and Tommy Baker and Rick Patone and Steve Ness, by the way, is just opening up Neffers Bowling Lanes in Palomino, Florida. Wayne Webb, Joe Lacerdo, and finishing up the final 24, Guppy Troop.
And finishing second, this man, Nelson Burton Jr., now faces the red-hot Bob Chamberlain. We've asked him about being a great announcer, why he wants to bowl. Here's what he said.
I think the reason that I still continue to bowl, there's three reasons, really. Number one, I think I owe it to the general public to make me more professional and contemporary, because if I still bowl, I know a lot about the game and can explain it on TV. Number two, I've shown a pretty good profit over the years with a bowling ball. And number three, my children are getting older, and they appreciate my bowling abilities, and they want me to go out there and continue to win.
All right, and now it's Nelson Burton Jr. going against Bob Chamberlain, who in 2 matches averaged .244 with 15 strikes.
Interesting note, too, Chris. Bo elected to start on the left lane, making Bob Chamberlain finish on the left lane because he noticed that Bob had a little trouble with it.
All right, Bo, not quite as solid as he was 3 weeks ago in his first shot, but he leaves the 4-7.
And here you see the hit going a little bit high, knocking out this 9-10 there to eliminate the split, leaving the 4-7. And I think Bo will have to start throwing a little bit harder on the left lane to keep it in play in the pocket.
Look at that concentration. 4-7. Lofting it out in the lanes here at Imperial Lanes in Toledo, Ohio. Marking with a spare. Now, if you've been with us from the start, Bob Chamberlain defeated Gil Sliker 256 to 226, then defeated Jim Stefanich 232 to 225. So this is his 3rd game under all this pressure for the national championship.
Got the big break, Chris, just like he did against Gil Sliker. Started off with the Brooklyn. Maybe that'll loosen him up. Who knows?
There's the hit.
Of course, you can't be any looser than Bob Chamberlain's been in the last 2 games. 8 strikes the first game, 7 strikes the second game. So watch the happiness victory.
You can't hit it any higher either, can you? 244 average in 2 games. So he's opened with a strike, now shooting in the 2nd frame of the semifinal match. Oh, and he gets a double, and immediately the non-winner on the Professional Bowlers Tour has put the pressure on a 17-time champion, Nelson Burton Jr. There'll be pressure today for Devil's Bag, a promising 3-year-old, for all the honors this year. Live from Hialeah, the Flamingo Stakes on ABC's Wide World of Sports. That's next. Now, Burton, spare, shooting in the 2nd frame. Bo gets a high hit, but not the break, leaving the 3-6-10.
Comparing his style right now, comparing his style with the way he practiced, as you see the ball, it's just going, he pulled the ball a little bit high, leaving the 3-6-10. He's let up on the speed a little bit. I feel that Bo is going to have to speed the ball up a little bit, keep it more in play in the track, and he's just the man to do it.
He wants so badly to win this national championship to go along with his U.S. Open. But, well, it's a little early to tell whether he's pressing or trying too hard. Great competitor that he is. We know him like a book.
I've always admired him, respected him, and all the other bowlers have respected his ability, too.
And this man has gained respect in only 2 games on national television. Okay, on the left lane, Nelson Burton Jr. of St. Louis gets his first strike, coming in the 3rd frame.
A little more speed, a little more loft on that particular shot.
Now, Bob Chamberlain with the double up, shooting in the 3rd. 244 average in his first 2 victories. That one slid by, leaving the 1-2-4-10. Little washout.
A little bit fast, adjusting from the first shot. As you see the hit, he's hitting the 3-pin full, leaving what we call the war shot, the 1, 2, 4, 10. Very makeable type of spare. Just so you make like a 5 to 6 to 7 board adjustment on the approach to the right.
All right, it's an open frame. The first crack in his armor today. After averaging 244, he has an open frame in the third of the semifinal game, and instead of leading, now trails by 3. And perhaps that's all Nelson Burton Jr. needs. Give him an opening, and you're beaten. He's tough.
That's correct, Chris. Bo will jump on that like nobody's business.
And it's a 2-4 on the left lane. Appeared to hurry that shot. Didn't set long on the approach and just raced to the line.
He's patting his head a little bit there and trying to calm himself down, trying to make himself concentrate a little bit more. He knows he's got a tough veteran to beat, and
but continues with a spare here in the 4th frame after 2 victories in matches 1 and 2. Bob Chamberlain of Pontiac against Nelson Burton of St. Louis. More of this match after this. On ABC Wide World, Thoroughbred Racing Flamingo Stakes with Devil's Bag, the favorite, but
there's a horse named Dr. Carter.
Oh, yes, ridden by Jorge Velazquez, and he could give the odds-on favorite a lot of trouble in the Flamingo. So could Bo Burton now if he strikes here. Give Chamberlain.
Tee shot. Oh.
A split averted.
What a break, what a break. He's happy. He knows he threw it bad. He can't figure out what knocked it down, but he's happy.
How do you trip a 6-pin?
Oh, from the back.
That loosened up. Former high school wrestler. Good athlete. All right.
Bo Burton making this the 4-pin spare, Chris. You know, by the way, speaking of Dr. Carter, I used to know a Dr. Carter. He used to treat us all out on the lanes and used to really beat us. Dr. Carter, he now lives in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
None other than Don Carter, by the way.
Well, I hope they got Don's permission to name the thoroughbred after him. Don will probably be at the race, knowing him. Well, you can watch it right here on Wide World Live.
Oh, bad break again. Ball really tailing in at the last, leaving the 4-9 split. Seen a lot of those this week as we see the replay. The ball really charging in the 1-3 pocket. And the 2-pin wrapping around the 4, knocking down the 7, leaving the 4-9 split. Makeable.
That was the downfall of the alternate Roy Buckley last night, the 4-9.
Shot. Oh.
Well, he was trying to do a Rolaids tip of the week for you right here live. Came oh so close. Gutty decision by Nelson Burton Jr. And now Bob Chamberlain has an 11-pin lead.
And that's exactly what Roy Buckley did last night, missing both pins and cost him a tie for 5th place with Bob Chamberlain.
Mm-hmm. Chamberlain now has won 2 matches. If you just join us, he's a non-winner from Pontiac, Michigan. Spare up.
That loosened him up, you know, give him the little confidence. He's been a little bit fast on the left lane now. He's moved in a little bit farther. He's put all 10 pins in the pit again. See if he makes his adjustment from his last 2 shots on this particular left lane.
6th frame now, semifinal match. The winner will meet Dan Eberle, a left-hander from Tonawanda, New York, for the national title.
Just set the ball in there nice and tight, Chris. Rolled the ball well, had good speed on it, lofted the ball well. Got the good reaction, got the double.
And a 21-pin lead on Nelson Burton Jr., who had an open frame, having left a 4-9. There's a picture of Bo when he won in Toledo. in 1970. Hasn't changed much. Takes good care of himself.
Sure does.
And that was a patented Burton strike.
He gets a little aggravated himself. Every bowler, the top bowler, has a little aggravation, a little temperament. They don't display it, but they have it inside. Look at this. Strikes in position round on championship here. 4 strikes on 7 balls, and right lane he's at 5 on 5.
And up until last night, led this championship. And only trailed the leader, Dan Eberl, by 4 pins when it was all over last night. Oh, he walked away thinking they were all going down.
Had the good speed he thought he should have, but the ball breaking a little bit too late, laying the 6 in front of the 10 and leaving the weak 10.
ABC and PBA Hall of Fame member.
Oh, Bo. Stuck at the foul line a little bit, causing him to pull the ball.
And he's often talked about that, sticking at the line. It was dearly costly for Nelson Burton Jr., who's going against Bob Chamberlain. Burton trailing by 33. We'll be back.
Get through bowl and then go over and challenge them for 1 game.
But he keeps loosening up, bowling on the lanes adjacent to where we are. And here's a man that's been bowling tremendously all afternoon, Bob Chamberlain, with a double up, shooting in the 7th frame. Three in a row.
Everything's right there. Everything is perfect for him. He's got the timing. As again, you see, when he hits that right lane, everything goes into the pit. He's really wired in on the right lane. That's why Bo making him finish on the left lane, but he has a 43-pin lead now.
It's a great personal triumph for that 35-year-old professional, late coming out on the tour, and here in a major championship, had 15 strikes in his first 2 victories, and now he's strung 4. Nelson Burton, open frame, shooting in the 8th, trailing by 53.
And we'll explain those shoes in just a minute. Of course, after Bo gets a perfect strike, Bo Burton had a little trouble sliding, so he put on one of his older shoes to be sure that he could slide to the foul line correctly. Of course, last frame he had an unfortunate situation where he missed the 10 by sticking a little bit. But that's the reason for the old shoe plus the new shoe on the right foot.
Giving it his best shot here late in the semifinal match, Bo Burton.
Definitely a must strike for Bo Burton, and just to keep a possible alive in the game. Bob Chamberlain just wants to keep clean throughout the next 2 frames.
4 in a row. This is frame number 9. 3rd match for this pro. 5-bagger, and he has all but locked it up. My heavens.
All he wants to do is keep the ball on the lane and behind the foul line, Chris. That's all. There's another perfect pocket hit. Throwing all 10 in the pit again. And he made the comment that he has to depend on accuracy, and that he has today.
And there is a man that started in 5th position out of a field of 360, who has had a lot of head-to-head matches out at various lanes around the Midwest, who has won 3 in a row. It's almost unbelievable. And now he will meet Dan Eberl, a left-hander, for the $38,000.
Nearly 4.
Non-winner, left-hander Dan Eberl and Bob Chamberlain. We asked Dan if he'd ever been under a more stressful situation than this. Tournament leader
Well, yes, I have. Just a few weeks before I left on the tour, my mother fell ill and had a stroke. I found her as she was paralyzed, and I was the one that had to get the paramedics to rush her to the hospital. It was a life and death situation, and it opens your eyes to the other realities of the world. This bowling is a stressful situation, but not compared to what happened to my mother.
How true, Dick Weber?
That's true, Chris. And let's say hello to Virginia and wish her the best.
We certainly do. Now, nobody has won from the 5th position thus far this year in 8 weeks. This is our 9th telecast. So, Bob Chamberlain on the left has won 3, averaging 247. Now it's the left-hander Dan Eberle of Tonawanda, New York. The last 3 national championships on the Imperial Lanes won by left-hander Earl Anthony.
For Dan Eberle in the 9th frame, foundation frame. Okay, tough spare. The 3-9 spare. Trying to calm himself down a little bit. He'll shoot that from the extreme left side of the lane, so the ball, make sure that it covers the very back pin, the 9 pin, which is the key pin of the whole spare.
Oh, chopping it off. 3 pin off the 9.
Here's the situation, Chris. Bob Chamberlain wants 2 marks in the 9th and 10th frame for the $38,000 first place championship.
A year ago, Bob put himself in a hospital to rehabilitate from an alcohol problem. He says it's the best thing that ever happened to him.
Hooray for him.
So we have 2 stories here today. Yep.
Got the solid strike, Chris. He's telling himself, he's talking to himself now about keeping the ball in play. Don't rush. Take your time. Throw the ball like you did on the right lane as you're seeing now, carrying the 10 pins out.
Just as happened 3 weeks ago in St. Louis, Nelson Burton winning 4 matches, and it appears that this man is going to do the same. Now he needs a mark to win. Sounds simple.
Always. There.
He knows it.
Is that a sign of victory?
The joy of victory. And speaking of that, on Wide World, immediately following our telecast, among other things, the Flamingo Stakes from Hialeah, the 3-year-olds. And a high hit, leaving the 4-7. Coming into this match, he had averaged 247 in his 3 wins.
And he's shaking more now, Chris, than he did to the whole match.
Yes.
And that big error brings a smile on Dan Eberle. Not a total loss for Dan, because in the runner-up position, he'll earn $20,000. Congratulated by Tour Director Harry Smith in the absence of Harry Golden, who's recuperating. Congratulations all the way around. And a non-winner is now a national champion. Bob Chamberlain of Pontiac. National championship, and striving for a national championship in thoroughbred racing, Devil's Bag, along with other top 3-year-olds. Flamingo Stakes next on ABC's Wide World of Sports. Well, we always have a runner-up, and my colleague today, Dick Weber, is with Dan Eberle. Dick?
Well, Danny, my congratulations to you. A great game, even though you lost. The 2 shots, the 1st frame and the 9th frame. Would you like to have them back?
Oh, definitely. The 1st frame was just nerves. This is such an exciting experience. I was just nervous, and I didn't throw a good shot. And then the 9th frame, I thought I threw a pretty good shot. I missed my mark a bit to the left, and then chopped the spare. Just wasn't really used to shooting that many spares this week. I threw a lot of strikes.
Well, Dan, we're all proud of you. We're glad you're a PBA member, and we'll see you again for sure on the telecast. Congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
Back to you, Chris.
Disc jockey Dan Eberle. Tonawanda, New York. Now from Pontiac, Michigan, here's the national champion, Bob Chamberlain. Come in here, Bob. Oh, they're standing. Come over here. All right, I want a big reaction from you because I know this was such an important day for you.
Oh, it's the most important day of my life, so yeah.
All those team bowlers, team members of the past, they probably all sitting back there saying we knew he could do it. He averaged big scores today.
I hope so, but I don't even know what to say. I'm just...
Well, obviously you like the pair.
Oh, well, I just happened to get lucky and then threw the ball hard on the left alley. I had to play it a lot deeper, and everything just went my way.
This ought to make life a little bit easier, shouldn't it?
Well, I certainly hope so, yeah.
38,000 isn't bad?
No, I think we can find something to do with that and make it a lot better.
We have the distinguished president of a wonderful bank here in Toledo, Toledo Trust, George Haig, that's coming in here with a piece of paper that you're going to love.
Congratulations, Bob. You really bowled very well today. Thank you. Really nice to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Any reaction to that, Cash?
Yeah. I'd like to thank Toledo Trust and George Haight for hosting the tournament. And everybody that was here, the crowd, thank you. I couldn't have done it with everybody behind me. Thank you.
All right. Now that you can keep your muscles warm, Mike Durbin, great champion, Firestone champion twice, has the green jacket, symbolic of your being a PBA national champion. Mike?
Bob, this is just to let you know on behalf of almost 2,900 members of the PBA that you're our national champ. Congratulations, great bowling.
Thank you, Mike.
Remember now, non-winner, winning 4 matches and going into that final game, averaged 247, and it fits. It fits. If it doesn't, you can buy a tailor.
Right.
I'll tell you what. We mentioned to the audience, coast to coast, that you had put yourself in a hospital to rehabilitate from an alcohol problem. That was a big battle, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, that was probably the most important day of my life until this, because it wasn't going anywhere. And I was getting in a lot of trouble, and I got in some more trouble just prior to that. So I decided to either had to do something with my life, or I didn't know where it was going to go. So I just entered a hospital for alcohol and spent a month there. And when I got out, everything's turned around in the past year.
What a testimony to that. It takes a big man to do that, and it takes a great bowler to win this championship. Nice going, Bob Chamberlain.
Thank you very much.
Bob Chamberlain is the national champion. The Professional Bowlers Tour has been brought to you by New Gillette Foamy Gel with more lubricants for the closeness and comfort you want in a shave. Today's program was produced by Joel Feld, directed by Norm Samet, technical director Bob Bernthal, associate director Kim Belton. And now this is Chris Shank.